Welcome to this edition of Business Video Trends on TMCnet. I'm your host, Steve Onderhoff. Video gaining ground as a valuable business communications tool in the eyes of executives. That's a conclusion one can draw from the results of a survey of 1,212 corporate executives conducted by Interactive Media Strategies in the second quarter 2008. In that survey, we asked a question we've asked in prior years: what is the single most engaging element of web communications in your opinion? And as we see in this slide, the results between 2008 and 2007 are relatively similar, with one significant exception. Now, the top lines of the bars of each of these chart lines represent the results recorded for the same question in 2007, with the bottom lines representing the responses for 2008. We see that all up and down the line, whether we ask about PowerPoint presentations, software application demonstrations, email links, opinion polls, audio, all across the board, we see relatively similar results between 2007 and 2008 in terms of the perceived value, in terms of what that technology brings to the web communications puzzle. Of course, we've talked about in prior times, evaluating these results, that a variety of technologies play a significant role in enhancing the web communications experience. It's not all about multimedia, it's not all about PowerPoint, rather it's the combination of all these technologies together that really makes the web communications area sizzle for end users. But what we see here when we look at these items individually, we at least see some traction though for the video space. See here in 2007, 18% cited video as the most engaging element of web-based communications. In 2008, that took a little leap to 23% of respondents citing video as the single most engaging element of web-based communications. So what we have here is essentially an audience that is beginning to recognize increasingly that video is a viable tool for communications in the enterprise sector. Now, as we move to the next slide, we'll take a look at exactly what types of executives place the greatest value on video as a communications tool. And here at the top, we see that surprisingly, it's engineers who have the highest regard for video. 27% of the engineers in the survey respondent group saying that they saw video as the single most engaging element of web-based communications. But behind that, we see that executives who are involved in outward bound communications, more flashy aspects of business activities for a corporation on a day-to-day basis. Top executives, 26% of that group saying that they perceive video as the single most engaging element of web communications, followed by marketing executives, 25% of that group, along with information technology executives. 1/4 of those respondent sectors saying that they perceive video to be the most engaging element of web-based communications. Down at the bottom of this chart, we see other surprising disciplines in the corporate day-to-day activities not having as high a regard for video. Most notably here, we see human resources and manufacturing. Pretty much those applications related to training, surprisingly enough. Human resources being the managers of training types of applications, manufacturers being heavily involved in using video as a element of the training course programs that they deploy. In both cases, we see relatively low regard for video, which would indicate that perhaps we have a ceiling over the long term in terms of how much value is perceived and associated with training sort of applications integrating online video. But what we have here overall, though, is that video is gaining in renown and respect among a broad range of web-based communicators, and is increasingly being seen as an engaging element of web-based communications in the enterprise sector. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Business Video Trends on TMCnet. I'm Steve Onderhoff. Thanks for your time.